Sorry, I'm late. Mara Ellison looked up from the glass of sparkling water she had stopped drinking 20 minutes ago. The man from her blind date profile stood just inside the restaurant doors, 31 minutes late. He had sent one hurried message 20 minutes earlier. Caregiver emergency, running late. Still trying to make it. Nothing in that message had mentioned the elderly woman beside him. That alone would have been enough. But Wesley Hart had not come alone. An elderly woman stood beside him in a navy cardigan, one hand looped through his arm. Wesley carried her coat over one shoulder and a small canvas bag in the other. He looked as though he had changed shirts in a hurry. His dark hair was still slightly damp near the temples. The woman, on the other hand, looked perfectly pleased to be there. Wesley reached the table and exhaled. I'm really sorry. My mother's caregiver had an emergency about 45 minutes ago. I called 2 neighbors, my cousin, and a man I haven't spoken to since Thanksgiving. Mara stared at him. He gave a tired half-smile. The Thanksgiving call did not go well. The older woman patted his arm. You forgot Diane's sister. I did not forget Diane's sister. Diane's sister is the emergency. Oh, she considered this. That seems inconvenient. Mara laughed before she meant to. Wesley's shoulders lowered about half an inch. He looked at her carefully. I completely understand if you'd rather reschedule. That surprised her. Most men who arrived late spent the first 5 minutes explaining why the lateness wasn't really their fault. Wesley was giving her an exit. Mara glanced at the older woman. The woman glanced back. Then she leaned toward Wesley and whispered loudly enough for half the restaurant to hear, She's much prettier than the picture. Wesley closed his eyes. Mom. What? You can't say that. Why not? It's good news. Mara covered a smile with her hand. The woman extended hers across the table. June Hart. Apparently, I'm your chaperone. Mara shook it. Mara Ellison. I know. Wesley looked alarmed. June continued. He showed me your picture. Once, Wesley said. Twice. It was once. You zoomed in. Mara raised an eyebrow. Wesley pulled out a chair for his mother. I'm going to start this date over. Please do, Mara said. He sat down. Hi, I'm Wesley. Mara nodded solemnly. Nice to meet you, I'm Mara. June looked between them. Oh, good, now we're caught up. For the first time that evening, Mara stopped checking the time. She had been on 9 blind dates in the past year. She remembered because she kept a private note in her phone, not with ratings exactly, because that would have felt cruel, more like forecasts. Date 2 would talk about cryptocurrency before appetizers. He had. Date 4 would ask whether running a tech company made her intimidating. He had waited 16 minutes. Date 7 would describe himself as an alpha male. He lasted 6. Mara had become good at predicting the shape of an evening before it happened. It protected her from disappointment. Tonight, every prediction had failed before Wesley even sat down. The waiter approached. June immediately asked, Do you have pie? Mom, we haven't ordered dinner. I'm planning ahead. The waiter smiled. We have apple and chocolate cream. June looked at Mara. See? This is why planning matters. Mara laughed again. Wesley shook his head. I promise she normally has more regard for sequence. No, I don't. That is also true. Dinner began strangely and became stranger. June asked Mara what she did. I started a software company. June nodded as though this confirmed something. So, computers. Mostly. What do they do? Mara started giving the explanation she used at networking events. Asterline builds scheduling and workflow systems for regional service companies. June lifted one finger. So, computers that tell people where to be. Mara paused. Actually, yes. June looked at Wesley. You need that. I have a calendar. You missed the dentist last month. I moved the dentist. You missed the new dentist. Mara laughed into her water. Wesley looked at her. You're enjoying this. More than I expected. Fantastic. He said it with such dry resignation that she laughed harder. When Mara asked what he did, Wesley answered simply, I play piano. I teach during the day. June immediately said, He's very good. Wesley looked at her. She was my first teacher. so her opinion is professionally compromised. I taught public school music for 38 years. June straightened proudly. He played too fast. I was 10. You were impatient. I was 10. Still impatient. Mara looked at Wesley. Seems like a reliable witness. You're taking sides already. I follow the evidence. June pointed at her. I like this one. Wesley nearly dropped his fork. Mom. What? Mara expected embarrassment. Instead, what she felt was warmth. June was funny, yes, but there were other moments. Small ones. Twice, she asked Mara how long she had lived in Pittsburgh. The second time, Wesley answered as naturally as if the question had never been asked. When June briefly called the waiter Daniel, Wesley did not correct her until she asked him later whether Daniel's mother still worked at the library. Then he said gently, "Different Daniel, Mom." June blinked. For a moment, confusion moved across her face. Then she smiled. Too many Daniels. Wesley smiled back. Always has been the problem. Mara noticed how carefully he did it. No impatience, no public correction, no look that said, "Here we go again." Just enough help to keep his mother inside the conversation rather than making her feel as though she had failed it. Halfway through dinner, June set down her napkin. "I need the ladies' room." Wesley stood immediately. "I'll show you." June frowned at him. "I am 72 years old. I know. I can find a bathroom. I also know. You're hovering. I prefer attentive. You prefer annoying." Mara smiled. June pointed at her. "See? She agrees." I said nothing. "You have an expressive face." Wesley walked his mother toward the hallway anyway. At the entrance, June waved him off. "Stay there." He did. Only when she disappeared through the restroom door did he return to the table. Mara leaned back. "So?" Wesley sighed. "So, how long?" He knew exactly what she meant. "Official diagnosis? 14 months. Alzheimer's? Early stage." Mara looked toward the hallway. "I'm sorry." He nodded. "Thank you." She waited. Most people filled quiet moments when illness entered a conversation. Wesley did not. After a few seconds, he said, "She still does a lot on her own. Some days are easier than others." He looked toward the hall. "She's never wandered away before. Until tonight, unfamiliar bathrooms were still something she handled fine on her own. And tonight? Tonight was supposed to be easier. There was no bitterness in it. Just fact." Mara looked at the empty chair beside him. "What happened to your caregiver?" "Her sister fell and broke her wrist. Diane called me from the emergency room. And you still came." Wesley rubbed the back of his neck. "I had already canceled once." "So had I." "Rachel said that." "Rachel talks too much." "Rachel thinks she's helping humanity." "She thinks everyone should be married by 40. I'm 39. Mara smiled. "Then you have 11 months.